That's a good question. It's very, very different from being like a hobbyist or part-time maker in my point of view, because you have to really focus on making money, basically. Yeah, my name is Jonas Johnson and I run a small business called Smedjan here in Sweden. I'm a full-time maker. I've been doing this for 5 years almost now for full-time. Started out as most people, like a hobbyist, doing some knives on the side. I do a lot of different style of knives, but mostly chef knives. I like to experiment a lot. I do a lot of weird shit. You have to really focus on making money, basically. You need to earn a living. When you are a hobbyist and a part-time maker, you might be able to put that little bit of extra time into each knife to make them like super perfect. When doing it full-time, you have to, in some sense, step back a little bit. I wouldn't say that you should finish them poorlier, but you need to be aware of the fact that you have to have the saying that enough is enough. I mean, for example, if there is a knife that you have some very, very small thing on that probably no one more than yourself will see, but for me, for example, I'm always like hunting every little detail that I want it to be perfect. And if I were like a hobby or a part-time maker, maybe I would put that knife aside for now. But as a full-time, you need to get it out there. You can't put everything in the scrap pile. So basically, you need to be aware of that. You need to make money. You need to have some kind of plan on how you should do that, basically. Yeah, the upsides, I would say for me especially, not especially, but for me is the freedom of doing what I want, the freedom to like control my own time. Before I started with this, I was a workshop manager in like a leisure boat company, and it was pretty stressful. Especially in the summers, actually, because yeah, that's when you want to use the boats. And I couldn't control my time as I wanted, and that's really one of the upsides now, that I can work whenever I want, I can be free whenever I want, because the knife making business is also like, it's not a car, you don't need it straight away. If someone orders a knife and you say it's gonna be ready in 2 weeks and it takes 3 weeks, it's not the end of the world. So it's more adjustable in that way. You won't be a millionaire doing full-time knife making, but I would say like the real upside is that you can control what you're doing and your time, basically. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. I think I wish I knew how long it would take for me to be comfortable not earning a lot of money. No, but basically, I think it's not necessarily just with knife making. I think it was any business you start up. It's always in the beginning a couple of really hard years before you get things moving. I think I went into it really thinking I knew what I was doing, but I can tell you I didn't. It was, yeah, hard lessons learned in the beginning, for sure. I think you need to know your audience. You need to know what people want. I think there is a misconception of a lot of makers thinking that I can do whatever I want and I can sell it. That's not the case. You need to be aware of what the customers want. And for me in the beginning, I did a lot of pass-arounds among chefs and stuff like that. Just sending knives around to get tested and get feedback on what I needed to improve and stuff like that. And that helped me a lot, because I didn't have a clue of what a good chef knife was when I started out. Yeah, really know your surroundings and know the customers, what they want. Try to find a niche in exactly what you're doing and try to find, even though like the chef knife has been invented over and over and over and over, reinvented all the time, and it's pretty much the same shape for everyone, but you need to have some sort of unique feature, I think, to stand out from the rest, basically. And I think that's what sells more knives. From a production point of view, I would say my power hammer, one of them, the spring hammer, that's number one. I would say the grinder, obviously, one of the grinders, and the forge. That's basically it. That's what I need. Heat treat ovens, etc. set aside. Those are the three things I can't work without, because I work with so much forge stuff. I need to have those. I mean, the power hammer is basically for the speed. If I were to hand forge everything, I could not make near enough blades to make a living out of it. I would say that's 100% the main tool I need in my shop, actually, to be able to make a production and to be able to make money. Because, as I said, if you want to if you make one-off knives and sell them for whatever amount of super high-end prices, hand forging would maybe work, because you can make it, you can have that long time in each knife. But when you're trying to make a business and a production out of it, you need to be able to speed things up. I mean, if I didn't have the grinder, I need to just use whatever I could find, files or whatever, and that's the same thing, the speed and the control, and I would say that's basically it. Speed all the time. I couldn't use the other two. I could use the grinder, of course, I could do stock removal knife, but I can't use it's no use having a power hammer if I don't have a forge. And the thing is, with the forge, you can still heat treat from it if you know what you're doing. It's harder to do it in a production state of mind. You can't heat treat one at a time when you're super focused, and really that's like no problem. But doing 10, 15, 20 blades over a day in the forge, you can't do it. I would say it's a no-go. You need a heat treat oven for that. But basically, you can use the forge and use it for heat treating as well, and that's why that's a necessary thing for me. And because I do so much forging with the knives, I need that. For sure. One of them is actually Yannick Pug from France. He's a huge inspiration because he's so good at what he does. He's really consistent and has really nailed down the process on the knives he makes. And I would say the second one would be Ben Come On. Just an all-around nice guy, really picking inspiration just by see how he works and everything he does. And the third guy is actually one of the guys that I really was inspired of when I started out, and that's Joe Scrum from Halcyon Forge from US. The style he's working in is kind of similar to mine, and I really appreciate that kind of style.
Thank you to all our sponsors who made this video possible for you. Clark Knives, who offer professional heat treatment and Damascus billets for knife makers. Blockworks UK, who sell high quality stabilized handle materials with other things such as milling and drying service. And Multitool Products Europe, who sell the 84 engineering belt grinders and even heat kilns specifically for knife makers. Links are in the description. Go and check them out.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I mean, this contradicts a little bit about what I said before with the forge and heat treating. I would say you can get, I would say heat treating. I think it's you need to be aware of what you're doing, and there is a lot of groups out there on Facebook and whatever that really goes into just heat treating, and you really need to pay attention to and really learn that stuff. I would say really know what's happening in the process, and that's, it's not underrated maybe, but it's overlooked sometimes, I think. Yeah, You make a nice, really nice knife, super nice blade, super nice handle, but the heat treat is bad, then the knife is basically bad, I would say. I find inspiration talking to other makers and seeing what other makers does. Basically, we have a couple of guys here in Sweden that makes knives. We have like some chat groups and stuff like that, and we can discuss things going on around like knife making in general, and I think that helps a lot. Also with like as you said, the solitary part of it, it is very solitary. You are by yourself most of the time. There is not many full-time knife makers that I know that has employees. Most knife makers are alone, and you need to have some kind of gang around you to be able to talk to, and that's basically what I find most inspiration from, actually. And meeting up like this with Frederick and some other guys, just doing whatever I find fun to do, making something out of the box, basically. Yeah, all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean I've actually thought about this quite a lot. I enjoy what I do. It's very, very fun making knives, but as with everything, you can lose motivation because you get a lot of failures or just a lot of things going against you. And like just economy, for example. If you have a couple of bad months, then it's really why am I doing this, basically. But for me, at least, I'm just like, I need to just work through it, and I know I have trust that I at some point find motivation again. That's how I work. So I can have like 1 month there where everything is just shit. I can't get anything done, but then something happens. Could just be a customer reaching out, hey, this is really, really nice, and I just get happy and start thinking differently for some reason, and then I get the motivation back, and usually that when the motivation gets back and you are happy, then when things starts to turn around and go good again, basically. So yeah, I think it's quite a lot of mindset involved, I think. I would say experiment a lot with different styles, different type of materials, different steels, like just try new things. You learn a lot by just trying and not just plowing away with the same old stuff all the time. Go big or go home, basically. Just try. If it fails, then it fails, but hopefully you've learned something from it. Yeah, that would be my basic advice, actually. Just try new things, experiment. And it's a big part of it, just to try and evolve, be a better maker.
Massive thank you to all our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the content that we do, and if you find value in the content we create, you can support our channel at patreon.com/UKBladeShow, or links are in the description below. I hope the video was informative. We also made a video with another knife maker from Sweden. Check out this other video over here. Cheers guys, and see you in the next one.